Yo, what's up, guys? Talking buffs and nerfs. So we got the balance patch upcoming in what about 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks ish. Let's talk about units. I would think they are buffed or nerfed. So first of all, we're talking nerfs. Nerfs. We got a good one for these nerfs. I think everyone and their mom, including their mom's mom, can agree that this thing has to be freaking nerfed. I'm not sure by what. I'm not sure by how. But this thing needs a dumbass nerf. And I think the best thing they can nerf is currently it's like if they do less than 25% of the max HP, reduce that to what, like maybe 15, maybe 10. I think that will be fair. I don't know. The best way to reduce this guy is just nerf that rate of 25% to like 15. I think that would be fair. Maybe even 10. Because a lot of things still multi-hit. You're not hitting 4Ks. These things are like what? Crazy shit. Yeah. I think that. Just that would already like fix a lot of his dumb shit. Because you cannot crit it. So just hitting like 10Ks, no crits, it's difficult. It's difficult. So yeah. Or make it current HP. That's actually a good one too. Make it current HP rather than max HP. I like that. I like that. Yeah, nothing. Yeah, the only things that like bombs and Molong S3. Those are the only things that do that kind of damage, and maybe Kaki. That's as crazy as we go. So that is what I would say for that unit. Then the other unit that everyone is using right now, and I still don't have. I'm gonna pull it. I'm gonna pull this unit the moment he gets he gets nerfed. So this thing is pretty OP right now, but how to nerf it without like destroying it? Like I want to see nerfs, but I don't want to see units like, oh, let's just remove his second skill, and then it's like, yeah, what the fuck? So I would say either make this that you stay less long in the scroll state. I would still give the proc. I would still give like the turn 2 proc into S3, that kind of stuff. I would say remove the speed buff, or remove the speed buff, or make the scroll duration shorter. I think those are the two things. Like remove the speed buff here, or maybe remove the attack buff. I think like for him, removing the speed buff hurts him harder than removing the attack buff. To be honest, one turn buff could do as well. Or yeah, just reduce this proc away. I would keep the proc. I would keep the proc. I would keep like the fixed turn on proc. That made him like good. If you remove that again, he's terrible again. So I would keep that. Because if you remove like the S2 proc into S3, then he's instantly bad again. Like legit, he's instantly bad. So I wouldn't remove that. Because I don't really want to destroy units. I just want to kind of nerf it. What are you? Another unit I miss. Well, more. I would simply put this passive on a 1-up. I think you already fix it, because he is not the most consistent stripper. And the big issue is, like legit, I've seen this thing solo a Molly. Philippity pulled one, and he soloed a fucking Molly with a Moor. How dumb is this unit if you can solo a fucking Moor? This is dumb. It's dumb. So yeah, I would say 1-up the cooldown on his passive. So he has 2 turns rather than 1, which would hurt him a lot in the 1v1s. Because this thing, he can 1v1, he does too much damage, he has speed lead, he can like whatever, that kind of stuff. So he does too much. Take out one of the things from his kit. I would remove that. Remove speed lead. No, like if you remove speed lead, you go like hard. You really like fuck up his whole kit. If you just remove this thing, like just the 1-up, it's still a good unit, but it's not as oppressive anymore. Like a lot of the nerfs that people want are just removing like the whole unit, and I don't want a unit removed. I just want to have like a slightly like less fucked up OP unit. 2 chances to strip instead of 3. No, I would keep 2 or 3 because it's quite inconsistent already. I wouldn't like do that. Another unit I would like to see a slight nerf on is this thing. This thing is actually OP. This thing is actually legit stupid. If this thing procs, you got so much heals. Even this S1 is like a percentage heal of like another unit. This thing heals my Molong for 8k on an S1. This thing is stupid. Yeah, this is... Like, if you draft this thing into an Okeanos with inconsistent stunts right now, this thing is hella OP. So, how would you nerf this? I'm not sure. Maybe +1 cooldown on S2? I don't know. I think mainly, yeah, maybe S2, S3, like up the cooldown. Something like that. I don't know. Either something like that. I don't know. But, yeah, they definitely have to be like... This one is just OP, man. This one is just stupid. Little slightly nerf. So then let's talk about buffs. I'm not gonna go over the whole list with like Christina, blah blah. I'm literally not on the bandwagon of like, oh, Christina has to be buffed. Fuck Christina. A few of those units, they're not gonna get it. Like, sure, some of these are gonna get buffs. I'm gonna be wrong about some of them. But for my opinion, there's gonna be one weird LD5 which no one predicted, which is suddenly gonna be good, and there's no way in predicting that one. So I'm not gonna even check that one. Units that I think are gonna be buffed is this family. This family is terrible. Like this thing is a legit worse than Christina. This thing is the worst unit in the fucking game. I'm not lying. This thing is so bad. You have no clue. Like legit, you have a turn 2 silence, which you can ignore. If you put this thing on Friend and Friend has a lot of attack, Friend can heal more than this fucking 50%. That's just, what the fuck? This thing is so bad. So, this thing, I think Karma either has to be completely reworked, or Karma still does 25% of the damage when you use S1, and then if you use S1 again in the second turn, you also get another 25% damage. I think that would be something for Karma to improve Karma that it's not as bad. And besides it, I don't really know. Like, the S1s are really bad. I literally think like the whole family is technically bad. You can do something to the S1 where you can just make the whole family like decent. At least give this a fucking 100% strip. Like, come on, fucking 75% strip? What the fuck are we talking about? What the fuck are we talking about? Make this 100%, man. Start with that. The fucking family is terrible. Like, even the ones that are supposedly good, like Shizuka, it's pretty bad. Give this a fucking 100%, man. So, S2, S3, like, past life skill, it's pretty good. This thing, yeah, situational good. But, yeah, give this 100%, straight up. And then this thing, I would always... I would say 50% of the damage. So 50% of 50, so 25% of the damage for using an S1. I think that would be fine. I think that's totally not OP, and I think it's still a pretty terrible unit, even if you do that. Fire, yeah, so Karma is fixed on that one. Then you have this skill, attacks enemies to increase duration of harmful effects. Yeah, let Despair count before this thing happens, so you can actually put a 2-turn Despair. Please, I read this thing, I'm like, oh, this is actually legit. So if you Despair stun, you have 2 turns Despair stun. No, you first have this skill and then you have Despair stun. Lame. So, I don't know. And then, yeah, I don't know. This thing is not that great. It is not great. Archangels have 75. I think Archangels, they actually upgrade to one of the few units I don't have. They have 75 actually. They actually have 75. It's not 100. But there's a few units that strip, like, doesn't, like, for example, Kumar S1? I don't know. Kumar S1. Where the little Kumar at? Kumar S1, yeah, 100% strip. So, they can do that for other units. It's not a big deal. Do you think Wind Ryu deserves a buff? Yeah, like there's a whole bunch of units which are bad. But to be honest, like, a lot of people are always like, oh, they have this list, but they did so little. There's still so many units shit. Yes, of course there's still so many units shit. And the thing is, all content creators, they want so many units buffed because they want to make content, because that gives them money. It's literally their job to make content, and the more content they have, the more money they can make, and therefore they want like next level chaos, and then they can make content. for me, technically, as a high-end RTA player, well, content creator, whatever, I do not really want to see like 60 units buffed. Like, trust me, it's gonna be the worst meta ever. And to be honest, everyone always says like, oh, the current meta is worse than the last meta, because currently we have Jogan Moore, and before we had that Chis Moore, and before we had that Molly, and before we had that Okeanos, and then before that we had Hathor. And there's always gonna be some annoying units, but the thing is, if you buff fucking everything, there's still gonna be some of these meta units that are gonna be picked all the fucking time, and all of these other units are still gonna be worse because everything is buffed, and then something is better than the rest. It's always like that. It's literally always like that. If you, sure, it's fun for a little bit, but if you start making 60 units buffed right now, you're gonna have the most messed up fucking meta you're ever gonna create, and therefore they don't want to do this. So therefore, some units are just shit. I'm sorry, but then they should buff them in like other scenarios, kind of whatever. So yeah. But yeah, a few of those units which are of course bad is this one, haha, I still miss her, I don't care. What can you do to this? I don't know. Like, is she even that bad? Like, she has like the, what's it called? Like a lot of multi-hits. So, I don't know. But yeah, she could deserve a buff. I'm not too sure what people would like to see on her. This one, for example, this is a worse Daphnis, and Daphnis is already bad. So yeah, could deserve like, give this 100% activation rate, man. Stop with the fucking RNG bullshit. Give this a good activation rate. This guy, I don't know. He's not bad, but he's also not good. He's not good. What else units? Well, one that I would personally care about, but that's kind of biased because I have him. Nigong, I think Nigong deserves a buff because literally at some point Nigong is like, oh, Nigong is this special unit that AoE revives. And it's like, ah, that's his thing. AoE revive. And then suddenly it's like, how about Eladriel? How can we buff Eladriel? How about he AoE revives? Yeah. And then we have Kraka. What can we do to Kraka? How about she AoE revives? Yeah. Or how about we bring out another unit that not just AoE revives, but he AoE revives, heals, and cleanses, and he's a fucking net 4. Fucking Armana, what the fuck? What the fuck was that bullshit? Everyone fucking AoE revives these days. And therefore, like, this thing has to get some buff. I even think if you up, like, the S1 to something better, like, I don't know, like, more sleep rate, I don't give a shit, then this thing is pretty... Yeah, even the Dark Viking AoE revives. Yeah. So, yeah, you could even, like, I think the whole family is bad right now. So you could do something to the S1 or the S2 to just make it a lot better. So, yeah. Other units. Well, there's so many units that could get a buff. But those are few of mine. Like, we can, like, quickly look into. Let's start with fire. Few units which are terribly bad, which could get a buff. Well, this one we already talked about. I don't think, like, you already got a buff few times. Well, I think you got 1600 buffs already, and you're finally, like, she's actually not bad. This thing also got, like, shit on the buffs, is still kind of bad. This thing, you kind of need some more rate on. This thing is, like, highly fucked by the crit nerf, I guess. So, yeah. Rakan is just not usable in RTA. So, I don't know. Rakan is actually not that bad for, like, Guild War, that kind of stuff. Ophelia could use a buff. I'm not a big fan of Ophelia myself. She's pretty terrible. But then again, Ophelia in Guild War offense is very good though. So she's already good somewhere. Monkey already got a few buffs as well. This thing is just a cleaver. Should just stay a cleaver. I think that's fine. This thing, Coco. I think it's too new to be buffed. I'm not expecting any buffs for this thing, like, in general. This thing is also not bad. This thing is one of the few of that family that's not bad. Fire Ryu is kind of good, but my Fire Ryu legit lost to a fucking Ethna. Ethna S2, double no glancing, armor break, S3, just wrecks the whole thing. I'm like, how does a Fire Ryu loses to an Ethna? I hate that unit. You need to be lucky to have that unit being good. I don't know. Carnal nerf. Carnal, oh yeah, we didn't talk about that, but Carnal could be nerfed in some of his race, because Carnal's kind of oppressive right now. but I'm not sure. It's not a buff, it's maybe a small nerf, but I don't know, maybe a +1 on one of the skills or something, like, I don't know. They could do something to him. His Cardinal is pretty good right now, but he is also not that OP, I would say, but he is pretty good. What do we have for kind of buffs here? Why don't you have Fire Panda? Well, fuck Fire Panda. Wasn't Cardinal buffed before? Yes, he was buffed before. So what do we have on water? No one cares about these. This is already buffed. That one is fine. This one is also already buffed. This one, I don't know, man. Add something stupid to the passive. You cannot push back. You cannot stun. I don't know. Something to that passive. And he's suddenly like these. But Chao is pretty bad. Shiho, Shitho. He was actually really bad for a really long time. Then he was buffed. And now he's currently just really bad. I'm not even sure why he's that bad, but I don't know. But he's pretty terrible, yeah. I don't even know why. He's not that bad, but he is pretty bad. Good night, Furus. Okay, Ariel. Oh, I got 1600 buffs already. I think that's fine. Chandra. Do something with these leader skills, man. Get these two fucking, like, for all of them. Get these two, like, normal leader skills. Shiho is still good. There we go. Shiho is 40% win rate, Firas. He's like really bad. His kit seems good, but it just doesn't work. I don't know. Yeah, it looks good. Like, he has like additional. He works really well on additional damage artifacts and that kind of stuff. But he's bad. He's bad for some reason. I don't know. Okay, this video is gonna be way longer than I thought. Beth is, well, it's just your cleave unit, that's fine. Wusa is actually currently quite bad because you don't cleanse, and the moment you just cleanse, like, up this whole family. Do something with the S1s and the S2s, and then therefore you also buff, like, the Nikong right away as well. Does Wusa technically need a buff? Not really, but, eh. If you do, like, Wusa S2 buff, yeah. Talk about demons, we'll get there. Poseidon is fine right now. Bastet is fine right now. This one is fine. Malone is good, is used. Amelia, situationally used. I don't think she needs a buff. She's fine. Josephine already got a few buffs. She's still a Luxac unit, and I think she's just made to be a dumb Luxac unit. She's not that great, but she can be used. She's not that bad. Abelio, this is one of those units. I don't know. Just AD could be decent. Bolvric is kind of bad in current meta, but he still does what he does, and he's really good in Guild War offense, like insanely good. Belial. I think he is not that great, but I also have no clue how you would fix that. Maybe less turns on this, just make it 8 turns, I don't know. It's still a siege unit, it's just siege offense with Drina, but make this like 8 turns or something, I don't know. Like, you don't need 12, just make it 8, I don't know. Barbara, I think Barbara's still fine. Barbara's not as good anymore because of the make S3 get him a turn. Yeah, that would work. Like insta turn after revive. Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. Insta turn after revive, because otherwise, like, you're stacking at 100% and it's just done. So yeah, I agree. I don't use Belial, but I totally agree with that insta turn, and that makes a lot more sense. Barbara's fine. She's kind of nerfed because of like the crit rate buff, or crit rate, not buff, but fix, that's what they call. But I think she's fine. Hey Gang currently is fine. Waterayu is OP, has to be a little bit nerfed with like the passive +1, as I just mentioned before, start of the video. And Bison, this one is just bad, but I think he's actually not that bad for siege offense. But he just doesn't fit the meta. He just doesn't fit the meta, and therefore he's not that great. But he actually, make a 2-turn armor break. I think that would help out a lot already. 1-turn armor breaks are pretty shit. Like, we've seen that at, like, what, Shazam as one, for example. 1-turn armor breaks are really shit. So, I don't know. I would feel like this thing can get a buff somehow. I'm not sure how, what, because in general, Destroy is not good. And unless you're gonna rework the whole fucking passive, Dark Bison would be too OP. I think Dark Bison is not even OP. Like, no one uses Dark Bison. He's bad. Dark Bison is legit bad. No one uses him. And I think if you do the turn 2, then it would be better. So, or yeah, 2-turn defense break. I think that would be good for both of them, to be honest. And then we have this one. I think just up the S1 to 100%. S1 to 100% rate, and then the other skills are... She's situationally okay. This one is just straight up bad, and I have no clue what you would have to do to it to make it good. And I also don't think they're gonna touch the mages. I think they're too new to get buffs. I would be highly surprised if they're gonna buff mages already. So I'm not gonna talk about them. And then that's all. Fine, let's talk about buffs for wind. She's fine, he's fine. There's just a PV unit. This one, I don't know. This for cleave unit, he's actually not bad. He's just outshined by Lucian since like day one, but he's actually not that bad. Fine. Fine, got buffed already a few times. It's fine. This thing could use a buff. I'm not sure what. Maybe up the counter rate. I don't know. Maybe if he counters, it's 100% stun. Something like that. I don't know. Because his stun rate is actually... is it 100% stun? No, this thing. His stun rate is 50. Yeah, if he counters 100% stun. I don't know. Something like that. I think he would be annoying, but it would not necessarily be OP. Yeah, maybe the Chimera S1s. Chimera S1s could actually work for all of them except for Zeratul. Zeratul S1 is already OP, so I don't know. But yeah, Chimera S1 does like no damage. Skill this on speed. Just skill this on speed, instant done. Zeratul would be fucking OP, but yeah, whatever. Please no, what the fuck are you saying? This thing is bad, no one uses it, it's bad. You don't want to use this. They already have 100% stun rate. Yeah, so nothing changes. What are you complaining about? Nothing changes. This thing is already fine. Ritash, good guild war, defense, offense unit, nothing to change. Ethna is actually one of those units. She's currently, she is used a lot, but she's actually not that good. I don't know. Maybe the S1 is bad as well. Do something to the S1. I don't know. Maybe 100%? Yeah, I don't know. She's not bad. She doesn't necessarily need a buff. This thing, well, cleaver unit, whatever. OP. Yeah, no one cares. Triton. I think Triton is fine. Doesn't really need a buff. No, Triton is fine. Hathor. I think Hathor's still fine. Ganymede's fine. Feng Yang, fine. Diana, fine. Lewis, Guild War unit is fine. Terranese, I do think he would need something. Maybe give him some more self-sustaining, like the bear form or something. He doesn't do too much. He doesn't do too much. Odin, I guess fine. Christina, yes, something more damage. I don't know why. This unit just doesn't do enough. Maybe just rework that whole like fourth skill. Just rework that fourth skill and then just do more damage. But she's still like a nuker unit. She's actually not as bad. She is usable. She's just not good, but she's usable. This thing, unique thing, I think he's fine. OP, fine. This thing, like, give it something like 100% rates on like those skills. I don't know, something like that. This thing could have some more, I don't know. Yeah, this thing also, if you get like, actually it's pretty legit. This thing can also use like because this unit is kind of good, but also not that good. Turn 2 defense, or 2 turns defense break. Fair. A Lachmaron to counter Wadarayu. I don't know if that would work in something. I don't know. So it's the same. Okay, this thing we already talked about at the start, so I'm not gonna repeat that again. This thing can use some kind of buff. Yeah, this stacking just takes like fucking 100 million years, man. Get rid of that shit. It should be counting for like everyone that crits or something. I don't care. Like literally everyone on the field that crits stacks this secret book. Like not just her critting. I think that would help a lot. And then we're through with that. Light and dark. Okay, light and dark is more messy because a lot of the light and dark units are legit shit. So I'm not gonna go over light and dark. Video is way too long already. The only one that I would necessarily say is because he's just buffed out of proportion because of like or he's just nerfed out of proportion because everything else in his quadrant is buffed and he is never buffed, so therefore I would say like a buff on him. But besides that, yeah, sure, there's a whole bunch of like bad units. Jara, I don't know, like everyone that they want their own like LD buffed. For example, I want my Zhongsheng Lao to have S3 100% rate, and then you could even, like legit, I would trade like 100% rate on this skill, because 60 is fucking terrible, and I would trade that for a one-turn defense break. One-turn defense break is pretty terrible mostly, but I would trade that like instantly. So 100% rate on this guy, but yeah. And then like most of the time, like people they only think about your own unit, so I really didn't think about like all LDs, how can you buff, how can you nerf them, I don't know. I think for nerfs, I don't think things have to get nerfed at the moment. Like Gianna's good, but it's not like 100 tier. Same for Ragdoll's already nerfed like a few times. Nefties is good, but I don't think she needs a nerf. So yeah, that's it for this video. Han one, oh yeah, Han, I would maybe like to see a nerf on. That's true. Han was never nerfed. Well, Han was technically buffed in the first place. But yeah, his S3, I would agree to a nerf on his S3 for one more cool time. That, or make him hit 3 times. Yeah, make him hit 3 times and then boost like more attack bar. Something like that. Okay, let's go over some Light and Darks. Trinity, I have no fucking clue how you want to buff this. Make this thing just attack based. Simple. Attack based, give it 800 base attack. Instantly done, fine. Nuker unit, done, easy. Sure, not an RTA unit, but just a nuker unit, fine. Before buff, he hit 3 times, you believe? Could be. But then he did an armor break. The armor break makes it really OP. So yeah, that. Grogun, just more damage. You're just a nuker unit, whatever. Just do more damage. The Bay is one of those units that's also bad. This unit bad. I don't know. I don't even want to know how you buff this, but this unit bad. Dark Panda. Is Dark Panda that bad? Dark Panda was actually pretty good into the Molly meta. This thing shreds Molly for like breakfast, like heavy. So decreases incoming damage by 25% and damage more if enemy is lower. The whole spring. Yeah, okay. Up these rates. I don't know. How would you make this? Just add more to the passive. They're really good with like adding more to the passive. Xania, I think she's fine. She's just a bruiser or like a cleave unit. She's not like, she's just a cleave unit. Could maybe get the buff, but I think she's fine. This guy is fine. This thing is still bad. I don't know, like they buffed her 1600 times already, but she's still bad. I don't know, but any revive is technically bad. I don't know. Raoul is buffed right now. Fermion is not that great, but he can still be used. Jara, oh man, this unit. 94 base speed. Make this more of a nuker unit. I don't know. Least branding. How about you put branding before you put your damage? Does that work? Or does he already do that? How about you actually put branding before you put damage? On every skill. That would be something, right? That would be something. If he always puts branding before like putting his damage, he's legit. Then he would be legit. I would use that. Not necessarily in RTA, but I would use that in Siege kind of things. Speed Awakening, yeah, could also work. What's your Awakening currently? What do you awaken into? You awaken into... Ah, you boost your Dark Nova. Well, great. You might as well stop that. Okay. What else do we have? She's fine. E bad. E bad. I don't know what you want to do to this. Make it be possible to kill on this thing. I don't know. Something like that. He be pretty bad. Nyx, I think, is fine. Alexandra, weirdly enough, I think is fine. It's not a great unit, but it's still pretty decent. Leona's fine. Pader's kind of like out of meta-ish because of like all of the push-backers and resetters, but Pader's fine. Hertite's pretty good, fine. Bella is fine. Egger, yeah, free to play, no one cares. Mugwell, I don't know, he got a few buffs already. He doesn't cleanse on S3. If he would cleanse on S3, I think he would be maybe OP, but I think it would be pretty good if he cleanses S3. And make this strip a fucking 100%. Okay, give him this strip 100% and then he's good. Fuck that fucking 75% strip rate. This fucking, yeah. Dark Ryu. I think Dark Ryu is actually really good, but no one can make him work because he's that difficult to draft into. How would you buff that? I don't know. How would you buff that? I think his S3 is fine. You just have to do something to S2 and S1. Because the moment you're using S2 S1, it's pretty bad. Just do something with the S1. Maybe Hadouken fucking strips or something, like S1 strip. I don't know. Remove crit rate lead. Yeah, maybe another lead. I don't know. Maybe resistance lead, and then he can become a bruiser. Or put a passive. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Light Riot? I'll get there in a sec. Wait, didn't I do Light Riot? Oh, I didn't do Light Riot. That, okay, this 2-turn defense break. I think it's legit for all of them. 2 turns defense break is fine. This thing is already OP as it is. Doesn't need a buff. And I also don't think it needs a nerf because it's actually pretty killable. It's legit pretty killable. So I think he is fine. He is fine. And then Light one. I don't know, make this do more damage. He actually does like little damage. And he's actually, interesting enough, like the attack buff before he hits his skill, which is... It is cool, but I think he just should do more damage. And then if you put this thing on Despair and he has like 2 skills, like this one instantly gets a turn, maybe just always give him another turn. I don't know. Yeah, that could work. Maybe always give another turn. If you always give another turn and you do this one and you Despair, and then you rotate into this one and you have more strips and Despair and whatever, then I think it's not that bad. Or maybe just put Hadouken on strip as well. No, wait, then you have that on Water Riot too. You don't want that. Fuck no. He has resistance lead. I think he's a legit bruiser actually. I think it's just difficult to draft, but I think with his AoEs that he has, he's a legit bruiser. But something like that. That's what I would have in mind for him. Proc units. Well, as long as they're consistent and not just sometimes procking, sometimes not procking, then... Oh, wait, I had to talk about... I forgot her. Because this one, I think if they fix Karma and they make the S1 better, like I mentioned before, it's already fine. Third skill is not that bad. Maybe Irresistible. I would say Irresistible S3. I think that's fair. Because the skill is good, it's fucking 4 turns cooldown. Irresistible is, I think, fine. This is like an inverted Nyx or something, and I have no clue like how you would make that. Harmful effects on allies 1 turn, beneficial 1 turn. Yeah, it's actually pretty decent, but maybe if you just fix S1, I think fixing S1 fixes the whole family. If you make S1 100% strip, she already becomes like a lot more useful because you can like depend on the strip to do something. And I think that would add a lot more to her in general. So I think that's it. Oh man, 32-minute video. Way too long, way too long, way too long. Either how, guys, thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Also, leave in the comments what you think for it should be like buffed, nerfed, or anything. Just interesting what... to hear and to discuss. Like, I read all comments, I reply to pretty much all comments, so yeah, it's interesting. S1 additional turn. Oh hell no, because you S1 into S1 into S1 into S1. Second skill up. S1, S1, S1. Okay, let's not do that. Anyhow, guys, thanks for watching the video and see you in the next one.